you, when you first got cast in the role back on Arrow, did you go and look at any of the classic Jeff Johns comics, or did you Mark Waid, or what comics did you look at for sort of reference?
Yeah, I mean, I went to DC for a meeting and they hooked me up. So like a lot of the stuff I read like was Jeff Johns stuff, but I fell into the whole New 52 series and in general just because I think it tonally was the most similar, and just the way it looked in general I thought was kind of felt like where I wanted to go with my Barry and where we were going with our show.
You've had a great character arc on this season to play. Can you talk about the evolution of your character?
Yeah, I mean, I know some fans have been frustrated with her not finding out sooner that Barry is the Flash, or her not being involved in Star Labs, and I defend Iris to my grave because I think it's kind of interesting to see characters on TV who evolve over time and not just in 2 and 3 episodes. Iris, it's going to take time to see her become who she is and how iconic she is in the comic books, and I think that's cool. I think audiences should appreciate character evolution over time. I think there's something interesting about that we don't see much of anymore.
Did you take any aspects from, say, Wally West or Bart Allen and kind of just apply that to Barry, or do they try to keep them separate?
Not necessarily. To be honest, I didn't know them that well enough before I did this to like differentiate like, oh, Wally is like this and Barry is like this. I read both, so maybe accidentally I infused a little bit of the two, but I also just like whatever of myself I could bring to the role just to make it seem genuine, because the character's so genuine and should be so likable. I wanted to be as genuine, I guess, as possible. I don't know Wally that well though.
Are you tired of fans asking you when Wally West will appear?
No, not at all. I want Wally West to appear. I know how beloved Wally West is, and I want him to come on our show more than anything, and I think that will happen eventually. I don't know when, but...
So you'd have to have a mystery sibling that we don't know about yet, right?
That would be correct.
I know your character, Cisco. He loves naming superheroes. He loves naming supervillains. When are you going to get the chance to name yourself Vibe?
Well, as far as Cisco's concerned, he has absolutely no idea what that is. I don't know if that's in this character's future. I mean, we're the great thing about this show is we're doing so many new takes on old lore and old characters. So I don't know where they're going to take it to that level. I don't know if they're going to take it to that level. But I certainly hope they do. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
I'm a huge fan of Firestorm, going back to the Super Friends cartoons from the 80s. So I love seeing him on the show. And I was just curious, what's it like to play that arc knowing that you potentially could become Killer Frost and could become his archenemy at some point?
It's really fun. I love working with Robbie, and the potential that there's so much to be done between the two of them is really exciting.
Can you talk about the decision to bring that character in?
That was something we talked about early on. As much as the particle accelerator was designed to provide us with villains, we also said it could provide us with a whole bunch of other heroes. It was one of the earliest ideas that Jeff and I had when we were working on the show, was that we could do that. And actually, in the first draft of the pilot, the scene with Barry and Stein on the train was actually the first scene of the pilot. So we were going to even introduce the idea of Stein that early on, but it felt like it was sort of too much time spent on what was sort of a fun Easter egg. And we knew we would get to it eventually. But I've loved Firestorm, from the comics, and he's one of the, like he and Booster Gold and Cyborg, they're really sort of like the big three characters who were invented around the 80s that have really stood the test of time, and to get to bring at least one of them to life, I think for a generation of fans, and hopefully people will go back and read the comics, because they're really good comics and he's a great character.
It's fun working with Victor Garber as well.
Oh my gosh, it's such a delight and a little bit intimidating, and one of my favorite moments, we were on set shooting the scene with Victor Garber, and kind of trying to be on our best behavior because it's pretty exciting that we have him around, and we were fumbling lines, and he said something that could be interpreted very inappropriately, and I lost it. I couldn't keep it together. I just had to turn around and let my shoulders shake while I got it together.
Mark Hamill's going to play Trickster. I mean, or a version of... Is that fair to say?
I can't say too much.
Can you just tell me about working with Mark Hamill?
I actually didn't get to work with him too much, but he is an amazing energy to have around. I mean, just when he does a scene, I mean, he imbues the character that he plays in the Trickster episode with this great maniacal detail. I heard that the crew was just standing there, just like watching his performance, just like eating it up. You know what I mean? So he definitely commands a presence, and he's a great energy to have around.
I was a huge fan of Prison Break, so seeing Wentworth Miller and Dominic Purcell play Heatwave and Captain Cold. I mean, tell me about working with those guys, and then the brilliance of the casting department to put them together.
Yeah, no, it was awesome, and it kind of accidentally came together. Wentworth came first, obviously, and they asked him if he had anyone in mind, and he said Dom, and Dom said hell yes. So it just kind of like worked out perfectly. And I also have seen every episode of Prison Break like years ago. So yeah, I mean, I was pumped about that. I love both of them as actors, and they're both really cool dudes, and really have, I think, created something original but also true to the comics.
You have an episode coming up where Felicity and Ray Palmer come to town, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's correct. And Cisco and Ray have a little. They bond over some knowledge. I mean, they're both geeks. You know, they both love tech. So
Did you geek out? Does Cisco geek out when he meets Ray Palmer?
A little bit, yeah. I think fans are just gonna have to see how it plays out.
In the comics, the Thawne family have a close relationship to the Reverse Flash. Will we see that explored more throughout this season and maybe season 2?
Yes, we're definitely obviously going to see that whole storyline unravel because everyone wants to know what the hell is the deal with Eddie Thawne, right? People still have theories that I'm the Reverse Flash. People have all kinds of theories, and of course Andrew and Greg love to flip things on their head. So yeah, let's just say we're going to see that whole Thawne storyline, that whole thing unravel in a very surprising way.
The relationship between you and Dr. Wells and maybe the dark times ahead throughout the rest of the season.
Yeah, I mean, that relationship has been a roller coaster. It started, I mean, Barry looked up to him as like a professional person that he looked up to him, aspired to have a career like him maybe, and then he was became this teacher and then of this father figure, and now he's realizing that he's maybe not who he said he is. And I mean, obviously he had something to do with the biggest tragedy in Barry's life, so it's going to change things horrifically and drastically in their relationship.
The whole saga with Dr. Wells kind of starts to gain its momentum on Tuesday. Actually, the episode that we are on Tuesday, that's the beginning of when everything starts to turn. I actually can't believe the stuff that they're getting away with in these episodes. But that's kind of when it starts, and so it's this huge drama that plays out over episodes at a time, and it's really amazing.
Could you talk about the evolution of Dr. Wells this season, becoming the Reverse Flash, and where are we going to see him go throughout the rest of season 1?
I think that's a tremendous question that you answered because you were given one question and basically you were like, talk for an hour. Yeah, I like that. Crafty, savvy on your part.
They don't give this job the monkeys.
What's nice about being able to talk to you guys about the Reverse Flash is that I can talk to you guys about the Reverse Flash. You know, if I spent half a year dodging all your questions because ultimately we wanted to have some unveiling for the fans of the show. Whereas I think one of the most enjoyable things for us have been fielding the different theories about who is Reverse Flash, what is Reverse Flash, what does this mean to Barry Allen, what happens when they come together, and what's happening now is they are coming together. And at the same time, what is occasionally difficult when you do a television show is once you bring them together, do you have anything left in the bank? What's been really gratifying for us working with these people is how knowledgeable they are about what they're doing and about the genre. And so even as we now have an unveiling of Reverse Flash, even for Grant and for myself, as they gave us the upcoming episodes, there were still many like head-smacking, gobsmacked moments where like, that happens? What? You know, as Harrison Wells, Barry's kind of needed that mentor figure. But what's interesting is even with the unveiling of Reverse Flash, it turns out Barry still very much needs him, just as Reverse Flash needs Barry. And so that symbiosis, that connection is still very much in the air. The way we've benefited from the first part of the season is that there's actually genuine connections. Harrison Wells likes Barry. Barry likes Harrison Wells. Caitlin, Harrison Wells has respect for Cisco and Caitlin. And so I think that just makes it a little more heartbreaking when people that you genuinely care for, ultimately you have to like enter into battle with them because you respect and care for them. So yeah, I think that's very long-winded answer to one of your questions. I will say that as we move toward the season finale, what's nice is we're not taking any prisoners. We really want to. The thing that people are looking for is that what that thing will be, that when they finally get it, is they will not be disappointed. We plan to deliver as best we can, and what they've done, the writers of The Flash have done, which is really, I think, inventive, is they've actually used that moment to springboard to a whole different second season. That's very hard to do in television, as you all know, and I think they've done a masterful job at it.